Hello, BookTube. We've got a bit of mail for you today on a fine Monday, fine and mild Monday. Very much windows open all the time weather, which is nice. Feels like forever since that was true. So all of a sudden, the mustiness of the air in some of the closed off rooms here at Hyde Cottage is gone. Everything smells of lavender, thanks to Larry the lavender plant, and also of lilacs, because the lilac tree here, our lilac tree, is in full bloom, and so is everybody else's. And Larry, the lavender plant, has a friend. I added a plant, a pothos, a vine plant called Porthos, who makes Larry the lavender plant look a little small. Porthos is quite big. So they are now sharing that shelf, but there is still room. There's room for probably 4 more plants over there. And Larry the lavender plant hasn't died. Every time he noticeably droops, I give him a little water. I have no idea what Porthos requires because he's brand new. I gave him a little water because I figured, coming straight from, captivity in the garden center, probably hadn't been well watered. I gave him a little bit of that. I'm not going to give him much more. The little tag on the plant says it doesn't require much water. And it's a vine plant, so it will grow and droop. Unless I train it to go up something, it will droop down. But the container that it came in has lines and a hook. So I could hook it on the bar of the curtain when the vines get long enough. Wouldn't that be something? I'd be having houseplants in 2 dimensions when just a week ago I didn't think I could keep houseplants at all. Larry the lavender plant is still alive. He might die tomorrow, but he's still alive now. But anyway, we have a little bit of mail here on this Monday, and we're starting off the week with a violation of rule number 1. I'm almost certain there's a box at the bottom of this that I'm certain, almost certain, comes from one of you. And if you're new to this channel, I don't think you are. I don't think we've had many new subscribers, but nevertheless, rule number 1 is don't send me a book. I know it seems natural, because I'm surrounded by books, but I know what I want. And the chances of you picking something at your local library sale that I want and don't already have are astronomically small. Nevertheless, I think someone broke that rule. We will get to it. We'll save that for last. We'll look at the periodicals first. I got, for instance, Men's Health with Jason Momoa on the cover there, wheezing, visibly wheezing. He's in the new Fast and Furious movie, I think, and that's probably why he's in here to promote that. And then there's no probably about it. That's certainly why he's in here, to promote that. But I noticed that. There's a long profile on him, but I noticed that before we get to that, there's a little bit of personal lifestyle articles. Men's Health isn't only about how to do dumbbell presses or whatnot. There are also there's mental stuff. There's an article in here by Gregory Scott Brown called "Does Posting Selfies Make You a Narcissist?" And it goes on. Of course, it's going to go on to exonerate the practice of posting selfies because the core audience of this magazine is over-moneyed young men between the ages of 18 and 25, and they do precious little else. So, of course, this is going to exonerate that by telling us that we need to clarify what being a narcissist actually is. But like all things, being a narcissism has a technical, clinical definition and also a popular definition. And you posting selfies on social media doesn't qualify you for either one. But if you have posted 1,000 selfies of yourself, you are definitely a narcissist. And I might add here, if you've posted 1,000 selfies of yourself on top of a roller coaster, frolicking in the beach at Cabo, hanging out with friends at the local artisanal coffee shop or whatever, and in every single one of those 1,000 selfies, your facial expression is exactly the same. I don't mean that you're smiling in all the pictures. I mean that it's exactly the same. Then you, I hate to break the news to you, are a psychopath. You are a danger to yourself and others and should be institutionalized involuntarily immediately. If that's true, if you have the exact same facial expression in all those 1,000 pictures, then you're a danger to society. You're not human. But in addition to that article, there's also an article where the author, Heather Meyer Irvine, who's a freelance journalist, decides to detox from the news. She goes through a plan, a step-by-step plan. She categorizes herself day by day of the progress of her detox from the news. Your brain, your nerves, and your scrolling finger need a break. Here's what 30 days without a headline could do for your mental health. Needless to say, I read this and objected to it. There is no call ever to intentionally make yourself ignorant. And the idea of parroting the nonsense of the yoga crowd, the meditation crowd, where the whole goal is to empty your mind completely and have nothing in it at all, you're going to have an eternity in that state as soon as you die, which is going to happen in about 10 minutes. And you also are just coming off an eternity in that state before you were born. It's not healthy in any way, but intentionally making yourself ignorant is even less healthy. The key here, as always, is not to limit the intake of this stuff, but to control yourself. Control yourself is the key here. It isn't that you stop looking at headlines and reading news articles and staying informed. It's that you control whether or not it gets to you. Apparently that's hard to do, though. So that was Men's Health. And then I also got the latest issue of the London Review of Books, one of the greatest literary journals in the English language. And it has some articles here that it's mostly stuff that I don't really agree with, that I wouldn't have given 3,000 words to. But here, with the editors here, if you run an outfit like the London Review, you're not a paper of record. You're not trying to cover everything. Instead, you're showcasing the writing ability of the people who are submitting pitches to you. So you'll go with the flow. So a lot of the books reviewed in here I would not have reviewed. But there's also the fun of the letters column. This time around, it started off not fun, because when you have an open letters column like this, it is easily possible that you will draw pedants, know-it-alls. And unfortunately, somebody a couple of issues ago broached the subject of the origin of the term the Iron Curtain. And that has brought out pedants ever since. And the one today, the letter that starts out the letter column this time around, is got to be the final word of the subject, a beat entry of the origin of the subject. I won't read you the whole thing because it's grotesque. The term Iron Curtain was originally used in the context of safety in theaters, at a time when flaming oil lamps and later gas lights illuminated the stage. These large public buildings, typically containing a lot of timber, painted canvas, and other combustible materials, were fire traps. It wasn't uncommon for them to burn quickly to the ground, killing scores or even hundreds. In most theater conflagrations, a word I love to use, the fire broke out first on the stage. And in the late 1700s, to prevent fire spreading in the rest of the building, the new mechanical device was developed, a massive drop screen made of one or more plates of iron. Perhaps the first was installed in a theater in Lyon in 1782, but much larger and more famous one was the iron screen installed 12 years later in the newly built 3rd Drury Lane Theatre in London. Yeah, very famous. I was talking just the other day with my mailman about the fire screen that was installed in Drury Lane Theatre in London in 1782. It goes on. This author goes on and on and on with all the other locations of the phrase Iron Curtain all throughout history. From this point on, the term was used as anti-communist propaganda in the Western democracies, but also by the Nazis. In May of 1943, the Nazi foreign propaganda magazine Signal described the Iron Curtain that more than ever before separates the world from the Soviet Union. And in February 1945, Joseph Goebbels, thanks. Yeah, thanks. All of this is having a go at Winston Churchill. The original mention of this was Winston Churchill is often credited with this phrase, the Iron Curtain, as a speech that he gave here in America. And the original exercise in this Pete entry was to say, no, that phrase existed before H.G. Wells used it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all, especially when you drape it in this kind of Pete entry. No one cares at all. Winston Churchill still gets the distinction. He used it for the way that we think of it. The Iron Curtain between the Soviet bloc countries and the Western countries in the middle of the 20th century. Churchill used it to that effect. That's how anyone thinks of it. No one ever uses it in any other way. No one cares about Iron Curtains in Drury Lane Theatre in 1782. So it's much ado about nothing, and the rest of the letters here are awful nitpicky as well, except for the last one. The last one overjoyed me so much that it made up for it. Matthew Beavis mentions W.H. Auden's penchant for anagrams, adding that the best Auden could do for T.S. Eliot was lit notes. That surprises me, since T.S. Eliot has perhaps the most famous author anagram, toilets. Steve approves. So those were the periodicals. There isn't much that I will pull out of this London Review. There isn't much that I would consider consequential books. But again, the London Review is not a case where the editor is going to a stable of reviewers and saying, here are 10 books that I want reviewed. Instead, they're saying, what can you do for me? What do you have for me? And it works. It absolutely works for them. The reviews, I won't pull any of the reviews on what I consider to be inconsequential books, but I will love reading them. Because the writers for the LRB have a huge amount of room, thousands of words, where they can just do their subject justice or not. Like, for instance, this has Pankaj Mishra on the current state of politics in Modi's India. That'll be worth the price of the thing right there. So those are the periodicals. Now we will deal with the mail, the packages, which we're starting off a new week. We will hope for the best. Although fireworks will certainly fly in the last package here, even if the first two don't make me rant in cancelable terms that cause me to not upload the video. So what is this first one? Okay, I don't have any paperwork on this. Oh, this comes out in June. This is by Sophie Keach, and it's called Morgan Is My Name. Very intriguing cover. Mist is rising off the hands, but there's a sword. I don't want to block the beam, do I? But there's a sword there. Okay. So this is going to be a paperback original. So it's going to look just like this. In June. Young Morgan of Cornwall lives a happy life in Tintagel Castle under King Uther Pendragon with the help of the sorcerer Merlin, until King Uther Pendragon, with the help of the sorcerer Merlin, murders her father and tricks her into marriage. Furious, brilliant, and vengeful, Morgan defies her brutal stepfather, taking up a secret education, discovering a lifelong affinity with the healing arts, and falling in love with a man far beneath her station. However, defiance comes at a cost. Used as a bargaining chip in her stepfather's war games, Morgan finds herself banished to a world of isolated castles and gossiping courts, amidst the machinations of kings, sorcerers, and men. But some desires are not easily forgotten, and the search for her independence is a quest Morgan cannot give up. As the era of King Arthur approaches, she must use all her wit, knowledge, and courage to fight against those who wish to deny her intelligence, crush her spirit, and control her body. But in seeking her freedom, Morgan risks losing everything: her reputation, her loved ones, and her life. Okay, so Morgan is obviously Morgan le Fay, the villain of the Arthurian cycle. Here, not so much. Here, Merlin conspires to murder someone, and Arthur probably knows about that, and the villain here will be not a character, but a biological characteristic. Masculinity. A chromosome or organization. An arrangement of chromosomes will be the villain in this book. Could still be good. Feminist retellings usually leave me cold, but I won't be reading this until June anyway, so we'll see. But Morgan Is My Name is the name of the book. Rather stylish thing in a paperback original. Then we have this next one here. Oh, it's a finished copy of something. What have we got here? Oh my. Oh, fantastic. Okay, this is from the folks at Osprey. Osprey Publishing is a military publisher that I never get books from. Never. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Well, I mean, they're a subdivision of Bloomsbury, and I'm on pretty good terms with the folks at Bloomsbury, but I usually don't get Osprey, and I love them. I love a good military history, and they publish some of the best. Okay, so what have we got here? This is by Thomas McElvery Cleaver, and it's called Clean Sweep. 8th Fighter Command against the Luftwaffe, 1942 to 1945. Now, see, that's what I mean by that's what Osprey Publishing does, and Stackpole Books does a lot of this too. They will bring out very specific military histories. So this is 8th Fighter Command, and not any other fighter command. And it's not the air campaign in World War II Germany or anything like that. It's very much not for a wide public audience. It's for military history experts. And I love it for that. There's certainly a buying market out there for that. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is the book, Clean Sweep. This is a vivid narrative history that draws on first-hand accounts to chronicle the U.S. 8th Air Force's 8th Fighter Command from its formation in 1942 through to its victories in the skies over Nazi Germany. Between August 1942 and the end of operations over Germany in 1945, the 15 Fighter Group, fielded by that command, destroyed 9,000 enemy aircraft in the air and on the ground. The 8th Air Force suffered more casualties, killed and wounded, than the entire U.S. Marine Corps did between the invasion of Guadalcanal and the capture of Okinawa in June of 1945. This story of the creation, development, and operation provides riveting first-hand accounts of the 8th Air Force 8 Fighter Command that protected the B-17s and B-24s in the skies over occupied Europe. Okay. The author has collected numerous first-hand accounts of over the past 50 years, meeting pilots such as the legendary Hum Zemke, Don Blakesley, and Chuck Yeager, as well as interviewing leading Luftwaffe pilots including Adolf Galland, Gunter Rahl, and Walter Count Krupinski. Clean Sweep is a vivid narrative history of the operational forces and impact of 8 Fighter Command, told through accounts garnered from both sides. And this author has written other Osprey titles. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So this comes out in late May. This comes out in just a few weeks. And that's amazing that the author has actually interviewed Luftwaffe pilots. That's fantastic. We are looking at the last generation of books that will be able to do that as World War II moves into history. What is his original photographs in it as well? If you talk to these people, maybe he has photographs that are totally proprietary. Look at that. Oh, incredible. So incredible. Yes. All right. So he has talked to these people, and he has got photos from them. A lot of these are from the U.S. Air Force as well. Wow. Oh my. Okay. Fantastic. All right. World War II history. Great. And this comes out real soon. This is out at the end of the month. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so those are the two mild-mannered books. Those are the two books that are behaving themselves. But then we have this thing. I'm going to need scissors to open it, because I believe this is from one of you. I believe that this is a violation of rule number 1. Let's see how easily we can get at this. My surly houseboy usually doesn't like me to open packages on my own, because I can't feel what I'm doing. But he's not here, so we will make do. I will try not to cut off a finger as I'm opening this scofflaw package. What have we got? All right, well, there's a book in here. See? And that's the problem here. What have... Oh, okay. All right, well, this scofflaw is known to me. This scofflaw is known to the local authorities. And this is a book that I just recently said on this channel that I didn't have in here. In fact... Okay, this probably isn't a violation of rule number 1, because not only did I say that I didn't have this book, but I also ordered you just in general to go and find me a copy and get it for me. This is Robert Massey's biography of Peter the Great in the big red hardcover. I told Micah Cummins to go to his next library sale and get me a copy of this, and he said, "Screw you." Why so mean? I also told him to send me his own copy, and he said, "Screw you," as I said. But one of you, you know who you are, found this in perfect condition. This is great. I will put a dust jacket over this. I will also reread it. This will go on the reread pile for the month of May. I've been itching to reread this thing. But I've seen it in a trade paperback. I even saw a mass market paperback with Maximilian Schell's face on the cover. This is what I wanted. This is what I and everybody else in the world read when it came out. This made a huge splash. Everybody talked about it. This is the version that I wanted, and now I have it thanks to one of you. Very, very nice. Is there another book in here? What is this, baby bean? What's going on here? Let's get that out of the way. Another book? Oh, you're very excited. Oh, you're kidding me. Okay, all right. This was a joke. This person approached me about this book in an email, and I added a bratty note. I like to be a brat to you people. I added a note that that the sender should send the book immediately and include Mega Stuffed Oreos, and they did. The sender did indeed include Mega Stuffed Oreos, enough for almost a whole day. How incredible! All right, well, any mail haul that includes Mega Stuffed Oreos is a good mail haul. So there you go. That is the mail for today. We have Robert Massey's Peter the Great, which I will clean it up and I will put a cover on it and I will reread it very, very much so. We have something from Osprey Publishing, very nice, clean sweep, about the U.S. planes in the air wiping out the last remains of the German Luftwaffe over the skies of Europe, the end of World War II in the Western Theater. And Morgan is My Name, a myth retelling, folklore retelling, of the story of Morgan Le Fay. And also a package of Mega Stuffed Oreos. Really just the cherry on top here. That's wonderful. All right, not a bad way, not a bad mail. I thought we were going to start the mail haul off for the week with unmentionable books, food for thought, and also with a violation of rule number 1. But nope. Instead, it worked just fine. We got through it scot-free. So we'll move on to the mail tomorrow and see if we can keep this streak up. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube, and thank you to the individual sender. Very much so.